Yep, this is John Black, Super Chemist. I got a small clip and then we'll get into it.
Streets. He had not actually marched during the Civil Rights Movement and kept telling the story anyway. I came out of the Civil Rights Movement. I was one of those guys that sat in and marched and all that stuff. His aides went back to say, look, he was in office marching for the idea. That's kind of the word marching on Twitter. I was not out marching.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
And to get hot, I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was trained, and then watch the hair come back up again. They look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black, they're going to put you all back in chains.
30 seconds or less. What kind of a chance would a northeastern liberal like Joe Biden stand in the South if you were running in Democratic primaries against Southerners like Mark Warner and John Edwards?
Better than anybody else. And you don't know my state. My state was a slave state.
My son is Attorney General a year in Iraq, came back, and that's one of the things that he finds was most in need. When he was over there in Iraq for a year, people would come to him and talk about what was happening at home in terms of foreclosures, in terms of bad loans that were being, these Shylocks who took advantage of these women and men.
I had spent years writing what became known as the Biden crime bill.
Anyways, I thought that was going to be about the story with Corn Pop. But you can see, even in that one clip where they have the children, the black children, they look like they're 8, something like that. They're little tiny kids, man. And he's there talking about how he likes kids, black kids sitting on his lap because he learned about kids and he learned about roaches. But, the Corn Pop thing, everyone knows the Corn Pop story. What kind of person tells us, especially like you're running for president and this is what you talk to little 8-year-old kids instead of telling them how great, they are and how they should strive to be better and successful and blah, 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 blah. He tells Corn Pop stories and how he was in a pool and he played with his the kids play with his legs and his hair on his legs. It's just crazy, man. But anyways, there's just so much evidence that this man is a big racist. Even his vice president knows that he is a racist and brought it up many times when she was running for president alongside Biden before she became his vice president. She said, you are the guy, and then there's footage, there's papers, there's just so much evidence, man. And this is the guy, always friends for 40 years were KKK members, but, and this is the guy that everyone says is non-racist? I don't get it. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And then Trump, okay, so Trump spent his entire life, right, fighting and helping black people, fighting for civil rights, fighting to get jobs for black people and, minorities and blah, 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 building them up, telling them they're great, how they concede. It's just, here's another Trump story and this was told by Judge Joe Brown, which I think is a very credible person, talking about how back in the 80s and 90s, he knows like several black men who came, they wanted to start a business, but they couldn't get the loans from the banks, maybe because they were black. I don't know. Back then it could have been, because it was back then it was racist. But they all went to see Donald Trump. Someone would say, go ask Donald Trump. They go in, tell Donald Trump their plan, give him a presentation of how they want to start a business. Trump would write him a check, say, here, go start your business. You pay me back at a certain, after a year or whatever the thing was, pay me back, give me a little bit of interest. And then they'd come back in a year or whenever they were supposed to pay him back, and they would give the money to Trump, check. Trump would rip the check up. He wouldn't even accept the money. He loaned them money. They paid him back, and then he just rips up the check. Says, "Hey, you got a business now. You're obviously a go-getter type guy because you got the money to pay me back a year later. When you told me you would pay me back. Don't worry about it. Just run your business. I'm not going to take the money. You can have that money. Don't worry about it. But Joe Biden, oh my God, he can pretend that he isn't racist because it's for votes, though. It's just all for votes. If it was okay to be racist, he would definitely be racist still today. Okay, he would definitely be racist today. All right. But and it's not just that he hates the blacks and the browns and the this and the that's and the gays and the trans. He hates the Jews too, man. He hates them all. He hates it. He just hates, And he's a total moron. And this guy's a total moron. And he's a traitor. I got 8 more minutes, so that's why I'm just kind of. I think I proved my point that he's a racist. I don't. And what's funny is I could just go on and on and on and on, story after story after story about how he's racist. You know what I mean? And the same with Trump. I got story after story about why he isn't racist and how he helped black people. But you see, it's all switched around though. Why? Even though we have 40 years of evidence for both men, we have 40 years of news things and newspapers, video, all kind of stuff on both men showing that Trump is not racist and Biden is racist. 40 years of just story after story. And yet as soon as Trump said fake news and running for president, everything changed. And everyone bought it. Like, how do you watch for 40 years a man, Trump, being praised by the black community, but praised by all the black activists, all the black organizations, praised every couple years. They're giving him a medal, a trophy, accolades. It's unreal. And then all of a sudden, just because they say something over and over again, Trump is racist, now he's racist. And what's funny is if you watch the CNN and NBC, whatever, he's racist. They never give you a reason. And when they do, you go and look at their reason, Trump said all the illegal aliens coming over from Mexico, they're all rapists and murderers. And then you go and watch the whole clip of Trump, and you see, he said that no. Just some, most of them or some of them are or whatever. And that there's obviously some good people, but who cares? Trump's point is it doesn't matter how many good people are there. If you have bad people that are rapists and murderers coming in, you need to stop it. You know what I mean? It's that simple. It's not whatever, you know what I mean? But everything that, you want closed borders? You know why Trump wants closed borders? It's because he knows that these sanctuary cities, which are mostly black, all the black cities are sanctuary cities because they're all 95% of blacks are Democrat. That's changing now because of, so how bad Biden's doing and how good Trump is doing. But they fixed it. All these mayors, Mayor Adams and whoever's in Chicago and blah, 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 they're getting paid off by these elites up on top to screw over the black communities. So now when 15 million illegal aliens come in, where do you think they're going to go? Think they're going to go to some white, rich-ass neighborhood that they can't afford? Where everyone speaks English? Or are they going to go to somewhere like New York, Chicago, whatever, where they can get a free this, free that? They can basically be financially supported, you know what I mean? Where are they going to go? Obviously, they're going to go to these black communities, man. Trump knows that. He knows once that they fill up those black communities, it's going to spill over to the rest of the entire country. But that's why Trump doesn't like open borders, because he knows it's going to screw over black people. Why does Biden want open borders? Because if you get them into the black communities, they won't destroy Biden's. They won't go to Martha's Vineyard. You know what I mean? So if you double the population, say, let's pick one city and stick with it, okay? Let's say Chicago, okay? If you double the population in Chicago and you have the same amount of houses, that will double the rent, right? So if you have double the people, you can always say, fuck you, if you don't like my, high-priced apartment, there's half the population is homeless because we doubled the population and they're all illegal aliens and they ain't got no jobs. So what else? Now your rent doubles. And what about the wages? What happens there? Oh, if you double the population and you have the same amount of jobs, guess what? They can pay you less. So now all the black people got higher rent. They got paid less now. How is that helping the black people out? And then their entire neighborhood is now what? You got 50 different languages? Do you want to live in a city where no one can speak to each other because everyone knows 50 different languages? That's another thing that pisses me off about this crap about how we should have multi-language. But screw you. You want multi-language? Just go to another country. This is America. You need to speak English. If you don't speak English, you shouldn't be a citizen. That's a damn sure. You shouldn't even be applying for citizenship if you didn't have enough respect for our country to learn our language. You know what I mean? Hulu, they need punched in their face. 1/5 or 1/4 of their commercials are in Spanish. Now, I got nothing against Spanish people speaking whatever, but hey, you're in America now. If you want Spanish-speaking commercials, go to fucking Mexico, ass. Okay? Don't try to change our country into Mexico, okay? If you love Mexico so much, you love your language, why are you here? Why did you come here? You come here for one reason only, to simulate into the whatever and be American. It's not. You don't come here to try to change us into Mexico. Because if you love Mexico so much, you could just stay there. Same with these other countries and these other languages. Okay? I don't want to live in a city where I can't talk to anybody and I can't communicate anything. I mean, they got that thing where that Civil War movie or whatever, and the guy, I didn't see the movie, but I seen one scene, and the guys, I guess they're bombing the country or whatever, and so he's on the highway trying to go to the woods or whatever, I guess, to hide from everything. And and no one knows what's going on. And there's this lady comes up to the car, and she can't speak English. Obviously, she speaks Spanish. And so obviously, after a minute of them, I can't understand you. You can't. Neither one can understand each other. He just drives off and leaves her there. For all we know, she's saying that I have a little baby and he's starving. Can you help me get some milk? We don't know because they don't speak fucking English. That's why you need to have everyone having the same language so that we can communicate with each other. Neither one of them could say, they started bombing and they're coming over the bridge here. The enemy army is coming right here this way. We don't know. The guy might be driving, we don't know. He could drive right into the army, even though this lady could tell him, hey, there's an army up there. No, but she can't tell him because she can't speak English. But you don't care because you're rich. You're Biden. You're living in your own white area. Your job isn't going to be taken away from it. You know what I mean? I guarantee if all the illegal aliens were politicians, the border would be closed down. But no, now they're unskilled, uneducated. So who are they going to take jobs from? They're going to take it from the poor people. And if they're in a sanctuary city, a black city, who are they going to take the jobs of? Oh, they're going to go take the politician's job? They're going to take the journalist's job when they can't even speak English? No. They're going to take the poor black man's job. That's who's going to give up his job and his pay goes down, his rent goes up,